Hi, I'm Debra Band. Mother's Day is coming up shortly, at least for those of us in North America. While I've never been keen on the corporate origin of this secular holiday, I've always nursed sort of an affection for Mother's Day. The day I first became a mother was just a couple of days before that holiday fell that year. And now, that son is a new father, his own wife a new mother, and they have a delicious baby daughter of their own. On an even higher plane, though, we gaze into a Jewish spiritual mirror of this greeting card holiday every week, and what a glowing view of motherhood shines back at us. Essential ideas within our Shabbat traditions express many of the thoughts and feelings that underlie our honoring of the mother and all the things motherhood at its core means, all the profound stuff upon which the way women meet our daily responsibilities rests. Over the course of 3 short videos, we're going to explore the meaning of wisdom in the Hebrew Bible and the Jewish mystical tradition. This is going to be a pretty wild tour, not in a minivan, but on more of a magic carpet, into our deepest past and the depths of our souls. We're going to examine the Shekhinah, see how this feminine attribute of God is the embodiment of wisdom on earth, indeed, the mother of all souls, of the Jews to whom we, as earthly mothers in partnership with her, give birth. We're going to explore these ideas in part through the illuminations I painted in my Kabbalat Shabbat book. Here, you see my paintings of the Sabbath candlelighting ritual, a moment of great drama for the Jewish soul. We'll discuss the symbolism of these paintings in a little while, but since we're talking about Mother's Day, I have to tell you these candlesticks were given to my grandmother on her wedding day. My mother lights them now every Friday night and holiday, and in 120 years, that will be my privilege. And my first granddaughter, just 9 months old now, will, I hope, one day light them in turn. But I digress. In Jewish tradition, wisdom is woman. And we're about to see how that metaphor came about, how it grew into the Jewish mystical tradition, and moved from there into Jewish prayer and culture. I'm going to be introducing ideas that may seem a bit exotic and foreign, but I'll explain each as we travel along all of these gorgeous paths. As souvenirs from this journey, you'll take home not only a new kind of value for Mother's Day, not only a new joy in our Friday night traditions, but also a sense of the dignity of the broad wisdom that we all bring to every aspect of our mothering, whatever the ages of our kids and grandchildren. We're going to talk a lot about Kabbalah, so let me begin by explaining that term. So what is Kabbalah? Kabbalah is far from being a single book, as people frequently think. It includes many books. It's not itself a system of magic or superstitions, although there are some well-known magical traditions spinning off of it, like the famous Golem of Prague. The word itself means that which is received, and in a nutshell, Kabbalah, or Jewish mysticism, is the tradition of the study of the metaphors and relationships within and among discrete qualities of the divine, how their interplay affects human life, and equally, how human lives, our observance of Jewish tradition and law in our sacred times and spaces, affect God's self. Kabbalah is a grand system of metaphors passed on continuously since at least the era of the Second Temple and almost certainly long before, for trying to make some human sense out of the vast unknowable totality of the Almighty. And the traditions and songs spinning from it bind our families as they're handed from one generation to the next. After gathering around the Shabbat dinner table, many of us sing Eshet Chayil, a powerful woman, with the understanding that we're singing about the Ba'alat Habayit, the woman of the house. But let me offer you a little tale of long ago events at my own Shabbat table. My much beloved late first husband, David, was an astrophysicist who was deeply learned in the Jewish sources and had been raised and educated within the Lithuanian Jewish, the Litvak, rationalist tradition. On Friday evenings, with family and friends gathered around and me seated beside him, every now and then David would come to the point of singing Eshet Chayil, a powerful woman, or a woman of valor, and he'd say, he'd don this sweetly innocent expression and puzzle. Eshet Chayil, mi insa? Or a woman of valor, who can find one? Now, David loved me deeply, adored my work, appreciated my reasonably orderly household, especially the cooking, and so generally followed his mischievous quip by reassuring those present that he wasn't insulting his wife, but that Eshet Chayil had little to do with praising the actual woman of the house. Instead, its recitation related to the Kabbalistic comparison of wisdom to a woman. And as a good Litvak, Lithuanian Jew, he had no truck with Kabbalah. So David was partially right, at least about the origin of the metaphor. Our tradition includes Eshet Chayil among our Kabbalat Shabbat customs, not so much to honor the specific homemaker, after all, how many of us really do spend our days buying vineyards, but rather to celebrate the role of divine wisdom personified as a woman and seen in the woman of the house, in the Tikkun Olam, the healing of the world, to which we aspire as Shabbat arrives. So let's see how she came about, and let's climb into this magic carpet. Are you ready? Now, the biblical view of wisdom in creation isn't quite what we in our own era expect. Let's fly back in time a little bit and look at some of the characterizations of divine wisdom in creation. We're going to return to Eshet Chayil soon and discuss it properly, but for the moment, we're turning to Psalm 104, which presents which presents a view of divine wisdom in creation and connects closely with our own modern day understanding of the word. Bless the Lord, O my soul. O Lord my God, you are very great. You are clothed in glory and majesty, wrapped in a robe of light. And then the psalmist goes on to talk about the foundation of the earth and the oceans. And he says, so that it shall never totter, mountains rising, valleys sinking to the place you established for them. You set bounds they must not pass, this is the oceans, so that they never again cover the earth. You make springs gush forth in torrents. They make their way between the hills, giving drink to all the wild beasts. The wild asses slake their thirst. The birds of the sky dwell beside them and sing among the foliage. You water the mountains from your lofts. The earth is sated from the fruit of your work. So Psalm 104, we see, describes the divine wisdom that's visible, tangible, in the exquisite order of creation. In the next video, celebrating the Mother of All Souls 2, Wisdom and the Shekhinah, we're going to explore how the divine wisdom underlying creation becomes the Shekhinah and infuses us worldly mothers. So follow these little videos for further adventures exploring the Jewish spirit through visual midrash. Full discussions of the poetry and paintings above may be found in Kabbalat Shabbat, The Grand Unification, which I published at the beginning of September 2016. I've also produced a matching paperback bencher, Kabbalat Shabbat, The Grand Unification, at the Sabbath Table, which contains just the illuminations of the songs and prayers chanted before Shabbat and around the dinner table. This way, everyone at the Sabbath table can share the lovely paintings and ideas along with the lucky person holding the hardback book. As you can see on the screen, the books can be purchased at your favorite bookstores or at www.ipg.com. You can find out more about my Hebrew illuminated manuscripts and book talks at my website. Finally, I'd like to thank Sharon and Steve Lieberman for their support of this work. And please do join me for the next of these little videos.